Welcome back to Switch to Linux. It is Monday, and we are here with another Linux Top 5. So today we're going to talk about the 5 reasons to use Debian. Now, Debian is not the greatest distribution for a brand new user, but it is absolutely one of the best and most powerful distributions out there. And today we're going to be talking about 5 reasons to use Debian for your Linux install. Number 5, you can install Debian on pretty much anything. Well, a lot of distributions are dropping some of the 32-bit and a few other architectures. Some distros don't even try to put their distribution on other architectures. Debian is really one that really strives to do this. So if we land on their website, and one of the valid criticisms is their website is a little difficult to navigate. So if you land on their main website at debian.org, come up here to Get Debian. And here, these are just kind of some quick downloads. So it's 64 and 32-bit installation. So this one over here is the net installer, where I have videos about how to use those. There's also live formats as well. But you can also hit the download and a distribution. You can see all sorts of architecture processes here, and I don't even know what all these are. And so no matter what type of system you're having, you can probably make it work with Debian. Number 4, Debian has great documentation. If you head on over to their website at wiki.debian.org, you can come on down here and grab information for anything you're using. So Debian News over here. Are you looking for help with the hardware or with a software or with package management, desktop computers? So you can actually narrow in what you're wanting to do. So on your individual desktop, you can come in here and learn a little bit about desktop environments, window managers, tiling window managers. If you're having issue with hardware, maybe your Wi-Fi card's not working, or you need a graphics card installed, or you just have some weird system, you can go ahead and narrow in on these guys and just figure out what it is you're having problems with, and then go through the documentation. And this stuff is actually very handy to learn and understand how this thing works. Now, like I said, it's not a user-friendly distribution, like a beginner-friendly distribution. So it doesn't have GUI driver installation systems like your Ubuntu branches do, but it does have very good information here to be using with the terminal. And you should be using, learning the terminal a little bit anyway, although you can get away without it in several distributions like your Ubuntu's, your Linux Mints. Debian, you are going to need to jump into your terminal a little bit. That is not a bad thing. That's a great thing. But their documentation will absolutely help you to learn your way around your system and get everything working on your system. Number 3, Debian is committed to free and open source, but does not make it difficult to add the non-free or proprietary drivers, which is very important if you just need a good working system and you don't mind if you have a few proprietary drivers on your system to make sure you're getting the most out of your computer. Now, just having a look at the AMD proprietary driver, this will give you some hints as to how to get this running. It's actually very simple. See, there is inside of your package lists, under your etc apt and sources.list file, there is just a series of items here. So Jesse would refer to one of the older versions of Debian, and then you would see main there. All you need to do is add these 2 words, contrib and non-free, at the end of each line containing your main, and this is going to enable your non-free drivers or your proprietary drivers. And then, of course, you update your system, and then it will tell you here in the documentation how to install the particular piece of hardware you are looking for. Now, this is actually not, it sounds complicated if you don't know your way around a terminal, but in reality, this is very easy to do. And I know there's a lot of good tutorials online about how to actually pull this off and install it. And I think actually I have one of these on my channel as well, because when I'm installing Debian onto my media PC, I do like to install the proprietary drivers for my integrated graphics because it actually works quite a bit better. Very easy to do. And it's not as simple as a little button, but the documentation is very clear and is very simple steps. Number 2, Debian is very stable. And what contributes to this is the fact that they don't just come out and say, we're going to be released on the 8th of July. They say, we are going to be released when we're ready. See, this is a downside, and what kind of happened with a lot of your Ubuntu-based distributions on the last LTS weren't very good because Ubuntu 18.04 was not very good. They wanted to get that out on the release date. They didn't stop and say, when is this going to be ready? This is why Linux Mint, my favorite distribution, also works very well, because they don't have a release schedule that they have to meet to say, we've got to push it live on this day. They release it when they're ready. And Debian is the same way. They release their distribution when it is ready. And because of that, it is very stable. Now, some people will say, hey, it doesn't have all of your security updates. That is incorrect. It does not roll new software versions to get new features, but it does get all of the security updates at the very time that they are released. So that is a little bit of a fallacy. Debian is very stable. Everything in the packages are curated to work well with the system. And it's overall, out of the box, you're not going to find a more stable distribution. And finally, number 1, who else could say they're using an operating system that is used on the space station? I mean, come on. Some people use Mac for the status symbol. I use Debian for the same status symbol. I use the same operating system as used on the space station. What are we talking about? Well, back in 2013, there was a shift, and all of these space station computers dropped Windows and went with Debian. Why did they do this? Very simply, for one of the reasons we've already mentioned, is the stability of the system. So the International Space Station runs on Debian Linux exclusively because it is stable and reliable. You can see the quote, "We migrated key functions from Windows to Linux because we needed an operating system that was stable and reliable, one that would give us in-house control. So if we needed to patch, adjust, or adapt, we could." And that's kind of an important point. And, you know, of course, we make the joke about used on the space station. But if you want a very good system that has a long track record, that is committed to free, but gives the ability for proprietary, that is easy to update, easy to fix, and isn't going to break your packages every other week, Debian is the way to go. That's why I like Debian, and while I don't run it on every single computer that I run, I do like keeping a Debian around. Now, if you have the bandwidth, it's definitely worth downloading a copy of the Debian CDs. In the event of some weird catastrophicness in the world, you'll at least be able to install any other software because that contains everything on it. So that's just something to keep in mind. So those are my reasons to use Debian. Let me know what your reasons are in the comments down below. Once again, you can help support this channel by having a look at the links up above me or in the description down below. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.